Working Class Podcast, number 10.
Woo!
All right.
Double digits, baby.
Everybody clap on 3.
I can't because
2, 3.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Working Class Podcast. And this week's episode is a special episode because we have some really cool guests. We've done this in the past, haven't we? I've had a lot of coffee, but we've done this in the past. We've interviewed a couple of our friends that play out, and we thought it'd be kind of cool to bring on our friends Challenger Deep and just have a conversation with them because we hear that they have some new music, and I want to discuss that new music and the creative process behind it, and maybe food, maybe, who knows. So let's go with the introduction. Let's start with the other Jason.
Hey, I'm the original Jason. Jason Murray from Challenger Deep.
His last name starts with an M.
I'm James LaPierre from Challenger Deep.
And I'm Jacob Russell from Challenger Deep.
J.
Just ending off, I'm Jason Mays. That's it.
And I feel really out of the loop for having a T name. So for this episode, my name is Gia.
I respect it.
Yeah, well, it works. So now that we've got that out of the way, man, I haven't done an interview in a while. It's fine. Xander, you're fired. All right, so yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about the band and how you guys started, and from the birth of time to now.
I think before that we have to go back even further.
To the era of dinosaurs.
Yes.
Is this BC?
Well into
Yeah.
BC, yeah.
Talking
I love that BC, dude.
BC?
Wait, hold on.
Before
Like, is it,
Challenger.
Now, James started the band, so take it away, James.
So I started the band. I was in college and I was super depressed, and then I had a friend pass away, which made me even more depressed. Yeah, a little real, sorry. But, it's been a while. I love and miss him. Anyway, I was writing songs in my room, and I was like, dang, I really want to start a band. Can I cuss on this show?
yeah.
I was like, damn, I really want to start a band. I want to, fully realize these songs. Some years go by, some friends help me out. They're like, yeah, let's jam. And then no one's got time, blah, blah, blah. So eventually I was out one day. I was going to Jack's Pizza, sort of RIP. And me and my buddy were waiting on a beer, waiting on some pizza. No one came out for like 15, 20 minutes. We would go down the road to Victory. I ended up meeting our original guitarist. We hit it off for a while. I had known our current drummer, Grant, for years at that point, but he was always busy with his other band. Anyway, we eventually coalesced, I think 2 years later. We had been jamming, and then we eventually met Grant and Jason at a Plenty show. And we were all kind of like, we should do music like this.
It's so sick.
Yeah. And I was like, yes, finally. And a couple months later, I think Jason was wrapping up school. We started jamming, and the rest is history.
Yes, it's AD at this point.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Dude, I love hearing about like those kind of like canon event stories. Like you just happen to go to the show, and like I don't know, it's wild how like if that didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like I knew Grant. I didn't know James or anybody at all. I only knew Grant of all the people on the whole planet. No, but we just happened to run into each other like 3 times, like back to back to back, and we went from being like vague acquaintances to like, okay, you as a human fully exist in my mind now, just because of that repetition. And if that hadn't happened, he wouldn't. And then I happened to play my one and only, prior to that, bass gig. It was at an all-black church in Stone Mountain, and I showed up and I was like, okay, this is cool. And they were really nice because it, like, everyone else in the band there was like T-Pain's producer and worked with, like, everyone there worked with huge artists, and I was just botching bass because I literally borrowed my roommate's bass and went there, but they were really nice. But then I told Grant that, and obviously he thought it was hilarious. So he's like, well, you want to play bass in my band, a new band we're starting? And I was like, did you not understand the point of that story? He was like, you play bass. And they wanted me to play bass, but I just went to AIM for guitar. And so I was like, I want to play guitar. But I'm really glad they wore me down. A few beers later, they had their way with me.
I was gonna say, it sounds like it didn't take much.
Yeah, it didn't take much. But no, I'm really glad that I joined the band and played bass. I'm on guitar now, but having had that foundation playing bass and learning way more about songwriting and stuff was really important for me in the band, and I guess for the band itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of bass, you guys have a recent addition. I say recent, but time escapes me.
Yeah,
it's been like a year plus.
I think almost 2 years exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
So Jake's the latest addition. So I'm going to throw this question since we were just talking about bass. How long you been playing bass?
For like, I want to say it's almost 18 years.
Whew, damn.
I can't play anything other than bass, but I can play the hell out of a bass.
I don't know. There's a Young Mountain video that says otherwise.
What? That was all. I want to go ahead and clear the air. That was mostly like y'all were showing me on the day of. It was a lot of y'all.
No, it was Chris Lent. Yeah, it was mostly Chris Lent. All Chris Lent.
So when you guys, I guess, first started playing together, was it pretty seamless, or were there some kind of growing pains? Yeah. Okay, I see that. How did that process go? Like, how would you compare then versus now?
Okay, I feel like there's 2 eras to speak of, like the very beginning, and then, since Jake's here, like when Jake joined the band, like that was kind of a completely different thing. So at the very beginning, first of all, about Jason's story, I gotta say that Grant sold me Jason as a bassist. And I was like, great, that's what we need. And Jason's like, yeah, I play guitar. I really don't want to play in your dumbass little band, but I guess I will. And yeah, I mean, I had been playing with the other guy for like 2 years at that point, so we clicked pretty well. Grant was coming from like kind of a punky rock background, and so the energy was there, but there was a little bit of like, we've all kind of never done this, so it was like that. And then Jason had just graduated guitar school, and I'm like, damn, this guy's way better than me on guitar, bro. And he's over there like, this song's kind of weird, man. But eventually I think we connected, and it all coalesced. Eventually, after a few months, like we started getting the songs down. It was kind of nice.
I think it was good that we were all in unfamiliar territory. Like, if we were all just doing what we were already good at, then I don't think we could have come together, because we would have been like too set in our ways. But the fact that I was playing on bass that I was not comfortable with, I wasn't like trying to show off or anything. I was just like, I don't know what to play. I was like, let me just find some root notes. But that was really helpful for me, actually.
Yeah.
So I got a question, because nowadays everybody, well, it's been like this since, no, it hasn't been like this since the beginning of time, because you guys were around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
They were around since before the beginning of time.
Before the Big Bang. So the decision for no vocals, because I mean, I love post rock, so for me it's like, oh yeah, I'm jumping into this. But I know for some, why is that?
It wasn't really a decision. We all kind of wanted vocals, and of the dozens of people we contacted and who contacted us, it just never panned out. Everyone, like, at least for me, I had a handful of people be like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. I would send them demos, and I know it's possible. My favorite band is Protest the Hero. Their music is way crazier than ours, and Rhodey still sings over it just fine. People can do it. But, you know, at this point, too, it's like someone would have to check a lot of boxes. They got to be super cool. They got to be really talented. They have to elevate the music. They have to have the time and availability to record, go on the road, etc. We're still open to a vocalist, but, you know, the stars
But-
really have to align.
You know, we've been doing this for almost 8 years. We don't have a vocalist, so I'm
Yeah.
glad that we didn't wait.
Yeah.
And I think the better we get, the more we learn how to collaborate with different people. And we've done we did a collaboration with Sater and then Brett from Empire Springs, and those both turned out really well. So we have proof of concept now that we can do it, and we're open to doing more collabs in the future. But yeah, none of us can sing well enough to, like he said, elevate the music. I think if there are vocals in a band, like most bands have vocals, but when the average music fan listens to that band, the singer is the first thing they think of as far as that band's identity. And if someone joined the band that didn't truly like at least be as good as we are at writing the music, then it would just kind of bring the whole package down, because people are like, oh yeah, the band's whatever, but the singer, most people will define how good the band is based on the vocalist.
See, but that's in my opinion, for me, because again, I'm coming from like This Will Destroy You and Explosions in the Sky, and I've always said that the music has to take on an emotive quality, because when you don't have a vocalist, the music has to become so much more.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So did something like that inform you guys' songwriting? Like being like, oh, did you guys leave it open-ended to where it's like, okay, we could add vocals over this if we wanted to?
Not really. Like, we definitely understood that without having vocals, we are going to have to make up for that. And so we have never written a song where we're like, we're going to make sure we leave space for vocals. It's like we cram as much in as possible while still like trying to stay true to like good songwriting. And just honestly, it's at the end of the day, it's like, do we think this fucks? And if it doesn't, then we have to keep rehashing stuff over and over and over again until pretty much every moment within a song. And there are a couple parts, like looking back, that we could have worked on a little bit more, but also at a certain point, you just have to go for it. Yeah, and put it out in the world.
I really like the mental image of you guys, like, just sitting down, writing a song, and going through a checklist and being like, does it fuck?
That's actually like 4 of the boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
And
next music video.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of circled around sort of before times for the band, and then we were about to start talking about bass, but I would say like the modern version of Challenger Deep definitely started coming together
2021.
2021. It was at the third big gig. Yeah, because we played that, and we had another guitarist filling in, and we already knew it wasn't going to work out, but we were just fulfilling that kind of last show with the guy. And but Jake was there, and we knew him from Dead Morale because one of our friends, Jesse, played drums for you guys. And I think I might have gone home at that point, but you just hit up Jake and you were just like, hey man,
Yeah, I don't know.
like
if
the way you're slanging that bass around.
Do you remember how I approached you?
I do.
I do too.
So, you were, I think it was just you loading up the banners, and you're like, "Hey, I need to talk to you, but later." I want to say it was pretty close
That's
to that.
almost word for word.
And so literally, I like was talking to.
Am I in trouble?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I felt. I was like, "Oh crap!" Like, what the hell happened? And so I want to say, like, I think we left it off there. Like, we were like catching up.
Oh yeah,
but,
I
like,
ran away.
Yeah. And it was like, what? I messaged you like later that night, or it was like
No,
the next.
dude. Anna came up to me and she was like, "You have to talk to Jake."
Oh, that's right.
He is
Spinning
freaking
out.
out.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like I immediately walk away and I'm like talking to Anna and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm freaking out. Like, just can't sit still. Like, And you know, I was no, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I overthink literally everything.
Yeah, but
So-
I do too. I wasn't thinking at all.
We just threw him a grenade and we're like, here, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I kind of was like, dude, it would be so sick to like be able to like try out, you know? And I remember like just talking about it, and like when we finally like discussed like, you know, me trying out, I remember looking at Anna. We were in the car. I forget where we were going, but I was like listening to the music, and I was like, man, I love these songs. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to play this stuff. Like, this is not ever happening. But here we are. Here we
you
are.
can.
Yeah, I can now. I can now. Y'all have definitely helped push me along. You know.
Well, you were willing to be pushed.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yeah.
That counts for
A
way
lot.
more.
Yeah.
So since here we are, is that a good transition to the new music?
Yeah. We just recorded again with Corey Batista. Shout out.
Corey.
Oh yeah.
He's done bands like Callous Boys, Us, did Seder. He's freaking awesome. When we first started recording with him, his process just works really good for us because we try to be as perfect as possible and play everything, but just what we're writing is usually above our current abilities. We try to write ahead of ourselves, but then you have to play it. But his process of allowing us to take sometimes just like a few notes at a time, he's like, it has to be perfect on the record. It's the rest of your job to then be able to play it for people, and if you can't play it, people will be like, wow, you actually suck. So it's good motivation. But yeah, we have done a couple like short albums. Like the first album were all the 8 songs that you had kind of
Yeah.
ready to go.
My sad boy music that
Yeah,
I was
when
writing
we-
in my room.
When
Hell
we
yeah.
came together, he pretty much had those songs mostly ready to go outside of like writing like final drum and bass parts. And then the next one, Stuff of Legends, pretty much only happened because the pandemic gave us the opportunity just to sit around and really focus on the songwriting side. We, like many bands, we wrote our first album and then we're like, I don't know how to do this again. I don't know if I can do this again.
And you're
I-
playing all the time. Like when you find time when you're not practicing to write more music.
Yeah, but I finally got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm unemployed. I'm going to sit on the couch, have The Office on infinite repeat in the background, and just have Guitar Pro open and just let's try to finish songs. Because before that, I had always been able to like contribute to songs, but I had never from point A all the way to point Z finished a song. And so having that time pretty much unlocked that ability to like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's get it going. We went and recorded again. Had to bring Jake on, and now we're here. We have been kind of just generating more ideas, and finally got to a point where like I think we have enough song material, kind of like 60% of 10, 12 songs. And then we started recording, and we were like, oh no, they're not done.
Yeah. I would say like up to 80% for the bulk of them, but some songs were as low as like 25% done. And I'm like, Jason, are you certain you want to record this one? And he's like, yes. Okay, cool. I guess we got to do it then.
But yeah, we really definitely wanted to have at least 10 songs on an album, and we ended up with 13 tracks at right around an hour, which is like twice as much as everything we've done before then. And we just wanted to have more singles to release leading up to a bigger album push, and we wanted to have vinyl because everyone, especially in like the math rock world, everyone's like, gotta put on vinyl. I'm like, are you gonna buy 100 copies of my vinyl? Because it costs thousands of dollars to press vinyl. Like even we've been like looking at pricing. It's like if you do 100, it still costs like $5,000 versus 200. Then it's like 6,000. Then 500. Then it like drops off a lot. But yeah, we are very excited about the new music. The new songs have been getting positive reception, which is always nice. I don't have to cry as much.
I was gonna say, unless I'm jumping in too soon, don't want to cut.
Jump in.
So how would you guys say this this process sonically, or not sonic, or how would you say this album sonically differs from the past? Because I know since it's kind of a new unit, so to speak, because anytime you toss a new member in, it always changes things. So for you guys, how was that process? Because I'm curious on my own, because I'm just like, I always wonder everybody's writing process, like, especially when new people come in.
Well, how was it for you, Jake? Because this is your first recorded material with us.
Yeah, so what's the best way to put this? I'm not a very good writer when it comes to, I can kind of like what you were saying, like add in like little bits and bobs here, but like I will say like it's just really cool to like actually being able to like throw out an idea at practice. I remember like helping out with just like a riff, and it like helped like push the song along.
Yeah,
and like that was incredible.
Longing for the Ether.
Yeah.
It's the last song on our album, and it's like a 9-minute long song, like 8 and some change or something. But we got to like the outro section, which is like a 4-minute long section.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to do post rock. We really like this band Via Luna that we actually got to play their album release show last year. That was really cool. Or 2 years ago, maybe. Who knows? Time.
What is time?
But we were like, when you just have the spacey guitars, it's really hard to know like what is the structure of this song. So I showed Jake one of the ideas and like Via Luna, and he just like within like 10 minutes he's like, well, I suck at writing, but here's this awesome bass line that fits perfectly, and it like magically unlocked the whole rest of the song. So that was really because he had been very upfront, like, I can't play your shit, I can't write, and I'm like,
You're in.
you're in, perfect.
Somehow I still
No, but I wanted to say earlier, but we've learned, I think a lot of people have to learn when you're working on a group project. You can teach someone how to get better at like a skill. You can't teach people how to not be a piece of shit. And the arts is rife with pieces of shit.
Yeah.
As one of them. And try
I was gonna say,
as
you
a
were looking at
recovering
me.
piece. I'm a recovering piece
I
of
was gonna
shit.
say, you were looking dead at me when you said the pieces of shit. I'm like, yeah.
This hair is pushed back, not slicked back. But yeah, so Jake just brought like, he was also always like 30 minutes early to practice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Had all his own gear. He just like checked
God.
every box except for what he thought was like the music side of things. But obviously he can play. He's, again, been playing bass for 18 years, and it takes time to feel each other out musically, physically, in the bedroom.
Emotionally.
a little handsy,
But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, I have to like, I've played in a lot of bands, but you always get like the oh, you're a bass player, so like chill out, But it's like really cool to like be in like we were talking about everybody kind of being multi musicians in like the same group. It's really cool being like being able to be like, hey dude, turn up, stop turning down. I want to hear it, I want to feel it, and as a bass player for so long, it's like you finally get told to turn up and everybody wants to hear you in the room. It's really, really sick.
Yeah.
It's really sick.
I mean, I started on bass, so I love bass, and I love playing it, and I love hearing it, and I want to hear more of it, and I want us to have sick bass parts. And when we're playing those sick bass parts live, I want to hear them.
Yeah.
I want to feel, being able to play live bass with this band for like 2 or 3 years, you have more fun on stage than anybody else. You can feel what you're doing radiating through the whole building, and you totally drive like the entire energy dynamics of the whole show. So we're always like, turn up.
I was gonna say, because like, not to deter from the new album, because I still want to stay on that. But you guys are probably one of the funnest bands to watch, and I say this and I say this as a music snob that's like, oh, all right, cool. It's like, no, like seriously, like every time I see you guys, it's just like they are having fun and they enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
So
We are most of the time.
Yeah.
But that is kind of like, at least for me, that was a conscious choice. It's like, I also love pop punk and
yeah.
just like high energy, just like fun, goofy stuff. And in a lot of our videos, you can see we just try not to take ourselves too seriously. We definitely take the music very seriously. But I know we aren't going to be literally the best at what we do for as far as just shredding. Like, there are already people who are way better at guitar and will continue to be better than us. But if we can bring in some of that fun energy and like get rid of that like elitism and gatekeeping, arms crossed kind of vibe, and be just like, okay, these guys are fun and holy shit, they can play really well. Like, I think that's kind of what I'm going for, as opposed to just being like the next Tosin Abasi. It's like, it's not happening.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I think that's really good because honestly, I think a lot of bands take themselves way too seriously, and it's just like, okay, this has to be this way. So hearing that from you guys is refreshing because it's like, I mean, watching the videos and seeing you guys live, like if you guys haven't, do that. You know, you can pause right here, take a look at their videos, and then come back.
Here's the clip right here.
We got the okay to use it. But yeah, so I don't know. I really appreciate hearing that because I know for me, it always sucks seeing a band take themselves way too seriously, and it's just for me, like that's why I dig you guys' live show. So that's just my compliment. I got plenty more. But
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to throw out a quick compliment as well. Seeing you guys live, I always leave whatever venue thinking.
Whenever I see you live, I always leave.
just that right there.
I leave the venue thinking, I need to go practice, but also it looks like you guys are genuinely having a good time on stage. Like, I feel like the audience can definitely feel that, like when it's not being faked. And like Jason said, I feel like a lot of bands do take themselves just too seriously, but also on the flip side of that, when people are legitimately having a good time, that shows through as well. And you guys like really capture that.
Thank you.
So just a compliment,
James is
not
known
a
for
question.
having a good time.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and I'm glad you do because for a long time, like up until the last couple of years, really, I was having a really bad time up there all the time. I had like pretty bad stage fright, and I was like, God, I suck so bad. Everyone hates me. They can tell I'm bad at guitar. Why am I doing this? Why did I choose this guitar-based instrumental band to be my thing? But you know, you gotta fake it till you make it, and I think I'm on the other side finally.
I think that's like every guitar player's, well, every musician's internal monologue. It's like no matter how good you are, everybody has that.
Right.
Like, not to go off topic, but like thinking back to the PRS event, at the end of the performance, well, John Mayer was the last person to perform. And the thing that stood out to me the most was not, I don't want to call it self-deprecating, but he said, I'm in a room full of guitar players that are much better than me. And it's just like, what the fuck, you're John Mayer.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You know? So it's just like, I think that's just like a feeling that everybody has. And like you said, you have to fake it so you make it. Just push through, because those feelings, I feel like, are temporary. They kind of come and go. They will come back, but
Sure.
you just keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
I think you also have to recognize that there are, as we've seen in the especially the last like 10 years, and people posting videos of them playing guitar, there's like a million different styles and flavors and vibes that each individual person gets across. And yeah, you're not going to be the best at every single one of those, or most of them. And if you can find some kind of sound or vibe that is you, and you can just keep on developing that, then you can be the best at your version of what you're doing with the instrument. But like, as I have had a bad habit of like going to shows and seeing someone better than me and just being like, oh, just like making me angry and like insecure and jealous and all those nice things. But if you can use them as fuel to like go home and practice, sometimes you need that kick in the butt, but I think also just learning how to appreciate what other people are doing, knowing that that's not what you're trying to do, is way healthier and way more fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I think that goes with like more than just music. That's like kind of life in general.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. To borrow an idiom from you, that fucks. But no, that's pretty cool. I would say this though, or I would ask this, not say this because I'm still thinking review mode. My question is, because as a person who deals with really bad anxiety, how did you get over that, James? Like, I know you touched on it, but for me, it's just been like, even every time I play a show, I'm just like freaking the fuck out. I'm backstage, typically trying to surround myself with people to like keep me like going, because if I'm by myself, then I'm just freaking the fuck out.
Oh yeah.
So, and then it's like when you get on stage, I'm just like, oh, I can play. So how do you guys handle that? Like, because you guys are severe, like you guys are insanely talented, and hearing that from you guys, I'm just like, bruh, have they seen us? We suck. Like
Untrue.
Again, internal monologue, just like, what the fuck?
no.
I actually would like to start on this one, if you don't mind.
Please.
So I struggle with that as well, like just like having the, you know, almost like getting shaky, like looking at it, or like all the way, you know, until we're about to go on, I'm just like, you know, internally like freaking out. I honestly, I started thinking about it like, most of these people probably aren't going, you know, what's the likelihood of all these people coming back and saying to me like, oh dude, you suck, you know? Pretty low, yeah. You know, and it's just like, if I go out and act like an idiot, and, you know, as long as I'm playing as much as I can, as accurately as I can, and having fun, you know, like I have a very bad habit of sticking my tongue out when I'm like concentrating too much. And I'm just like, the more and more I do it, it's just like, just lean into it. You know, I might be concentrating, but it's a funny face, you know.
You're just owning it.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like, it's a lot easier, you know, having a guitar in front of you. It's almost like a barrier. You know, you can kind of like forget that you're there.
Especially a big guitar.
Yeah, a really big guitar. You know, at least that's what helps for me. And like looking over and just seeing everybody else having fun, you know, it really does, like, you know, it helps make you forget that like you're not the only one up there. You know, if we're all doing the best we can to act, you know, to have fun, you know. I know Grant's not here, but he's very good at, you know, you looking back there and he's just freaking like smiling from ear to ear, you know. He's having a dance party back there, you know. That helps me a lot.
He was actually the one to give me the push, really. So like, for context for how bad it was, before our first like show, which was like a house show with a bunch of really cool fucking bands, he did like a little preview show of us in his living room. He was having a party, so there was like, you know, 30 of our friends over. Most of these people I know, most of them are like pretty good friends of mine. I was literally shaking in the back, like warming up. And, you know, someone comes by, he's like, why are you warming up? I'm like, I want to play well. And then like, I don't think I moved an inch the entire like 4 or 5 songs we played. And, you know, just over time, you know, repetition helps, obviously, but, you know, if you're freaking out every time, what's going to happen? My super unhealthy way to like curb that at the beginning was to drink 4 beers before I went on. That was the exact number. I was like, you know what? After 4 beers, I'm fine. I can loosen up, move a little, and once I get started moving a little, I'm fine. Obviously, that's not sustainable or good for you. So, you know, eventually dial it back. And the worst part for me is when I like flub a note, which with as many notes as we're playing is going to happen, and you can't let that get to you, right? But I do. And there's this voice in my head that's like, man, you really did it now. You suck. They are going to fucking say every bad thing in the world about you after this. And then I just have to actively fight that voice and be like, shut up. It's fine. Just move on. Don't even think about it. The more you think about it, the more you're going to mess up, the more that voice is going to come back. And, you know, it's just over and over and over. And eventually that voice gets quieter.
Okay.
Become stronger than the voice.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yes, but it starts off very strong.
Dang. Okay. Dang. Well, I'm trying to think of how to segue this back to the new music. I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what
Well,
back to
speaking
me.
of anxiety, another great way to treat it is writing new music,
Yeah.
which is what we've done.
Yeah. So, speaking of the new music, when is that coming out, and what's the plans for this album release?
So we definitely wanted to focus on putting it out. So we got with a marketing guy to help us. Like, I have a background in marketing, but it's the more I've transitioned into the artist side of things, the more the artist part of me is like, ew, marketing, don't talk about yourself. So we hired someone to help us kind of like just put out a sort of template of what to do for each single, how to like the kind of content that we need, things we can be doing in the meantime. But we are still very much a DIY hustling, just literally we put out a song and then I'm like texting hundreds of people, even if I haven't talked to them in a year. I'm like, hey, how's it going? By the way, we have a new song. And you just have to be a little shameless, and it can be a little cringe sometimes, but you really don't know who's going to resonate. And, you know, looking up tons of Instagram channels and different YouTube channels and being like, hey, will you feature our thing? Hey, and if there's a better way to do it, please let me know. But yeah, so we're putting out 5 singles because there's 13 songs, and we're just like, and each one has like custom artwork that we have. I feel like a part of our band identity is that we always get really sick artwork. You work with Taylor Adams, who had to get a job with Adult Swim and doesn't want to do freelance anymore. And then he referred us to a couple other people, and between the two of them, they've been doing all of our new artwork, like for Scavenger, and then the one we just put out, 0 to Midnight.
Shout out to Brittany Gaby at Gabo.
Yeah, she's awesome. And then Jeremy Muxworthy, I couldn't remember. We've already like previewed the album artwork, so Jeremy Muxworthy did that. He did it all point style, like by hand, and then did coloring after. And I am very proud of the artwork that we've curated for the album. And the music itself, it covers a much wider kind of scope genre-wise. I think, you know, the first album definitely leaned more towards into the math rock vibe, because that's what was like very currently trendy. It's just kind of the recording style we did. But the longer we've been going, the more we've let those pop punk, post rock, post hardcore,
Prog metal,
and metalcore. Like, I grew up listening to August Burns Red, Parkway Drive, Killswitch Engage, and like bringing all those elements in. So it's a freaking journey. Like, I've listened to the whole album probably 1,000 times now, back to back, just like even through just like the writing process, and then recording, and then mixing, and then mastering, and then just you're like, holy shit, I can't believe we made this. And it's finally gotten to a point where I'm like, all right, it's enough of that.
yeah.
But you can't let that affect you, because the rest of the world hasn't heard this shit. So you like gotta show someone a song like it's brand fucking new. You've never heard it before, and it's amazing, and holy crap. And you have to keep that fervor ignited.
So I guess that follows into my next question. For, let's assume, dear listener, you are listening to this after the album comes out. Because all three of you guys, not at the same time. Oh, that's what she said. But what songs, I don't want to say mean the most, but what songs on the album hits you guys each the hardest for whatever reason? Like, because I don't, because you know, you don't want to say, oh, I like this song better, and then it's like everybody's like, oh,
Yeah, of course. Jake, you go first.
Yeah.
oh, what's the song for each of you guys that fucks?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which song fucks the hardest?
Yes.
I will. I'm gonna. I don't mean to take take sides, but I mean, coming from playing metal only for so long, Cruelty of Fangs is probably like the one, like hearing it, learning it, now playing it and like live or bringing it more into the set. Like it just brings out like something inside
Primal.
me. Primal, yeah. Very, very
Primal.
primal.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Heaters.
We
yeah.
have more than a couple, but
Oh yeah.
we have way more moments of just like pretty like brutal, nasty shit. Whereas before that didn't really exist at all in our music, and we're very excited about that. So
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
That is actually my choice too. But actually, yeah, for the sake of variety, I will pick another. There's a song called "Highly Dubious" on the album, and I think you were talking about like watching players better than you, and like at a show especially, and like rather than getting upset and insecure, try to transform that into inspiration. There's this band that we've known for a long time. We've played a few shows with called Tang. Shout out Tang. You guys rip. I was the first time I saw them. Thank God they played after us, and I was just blown away that a whole band really could like be that tight, that good, that skilled on their instruments, and come together and make music that people enjoyed. So we did a short run with them and Medians, October 2023. Did like, I don't know, 10 shows or something, and maybe less, whatever. Watching those dudes every night was extraordinary. And, you know, at first I was like, damn, like some nights we got to play after them, and I'm so bad. But I remember getting home from that tour and thinking that was really cool. And I started like humming this like thing in my head that sort of reminded me of their style. They're like kind of jazz fusiony, and I knew like I had to get up right now and like get a recording of that riff, and that eventually became that song. Which once I started like locking into the meat of the riff, came together the fastest of maybe any song I've ever written, like in full. So yeah, it means a lot to me. It's really fun to play live. Probably my favorite to play. It's not as hard as some of the others, so I can like shake my ass a little more. Yeah,
Okay.
I think people will like it.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have 2, 3, 4. I have all of them. That's why I have them all. But one that was really important to me because, like he said, we formed basically as like an agreement to start a band at a Plenty show, and there's the title, or not the title track, but the first track on the album is called L. Ron Hubble, and it's very Plenty-esque. Like if I show that song to anyone, they will be like, "Oh, Plenty is a direct inspiration," to the point where maybe you even ripped off him, and I'm like, "Thank you." If someone accuses me of ripping off Plenty, there's no greater praise in my mind because he has the most just taste in guitar writing. And then we also got a friend, Marty Gonzalez, to do a feature that he showed me the like demo on the phone for what he was going to do. And I'm not kidding. It literally brought a tear to my eye. I started quietly crying at how freaking beautiful it was. And then hearing that and the ideas he put down, that unlocked like more passion and desire to be like, all right, I gotta fill out the rest of this song with crazy shit. So he really helped me. And then there's another song called Soulstone that is definitely the heaviest thing I've ever written, and it was a direct inspiration because this was like 2 years ago or something, maybe on that same tour or whatever, you showed me Spirit Box for the first time, and I was like,
The Void.
oh yeah, I like this. And I just went home and immediately was like, I want to write a song like Spirit Box, and I did kind of our version of that.
What bands are you guys listening to now? Like, you know, what music doesn't have to be like a top 5 or, you know, in any particular order, just something that you guys have been jamming recently.
All right, I guess I'll start this one. Bill Murray all day. If you don't know Bill Murray, Bilmuri. I've just been completely obsessed. Went and saw them back in Atlanta a few months ago, and it was one of the most fun shows I've ever been to. Seeing the guy Johnny from Attack Attack go from the screamo crabcore to now what he's doing is really truly inspirational. Just like I don't really care a lot about like musician like documentaries or whatever, but his story really resonates. Someone who like was up there, then all the way back down, and now he's like on the rise doing this like really again, not taking the music too seriously. His videos like probably cost $100 to shoot just with a camera, like a phone cam. He's riding around on a lawnmower and shit. But the songwriting is just like next level. Like every song to me is just like brings all these different crazy elements. There are no rules. Like there's violin, saxophone, gent guitars, banjo, mandolin, like all this crazy stuff. So yeah, I'm really into Bill Murray right now.
Yeah.
And Spirit Box, but Bill Murray.
Recently I found myself listening to more like music from here, like from Atlanta, and like, you know, my main thing is like I'll throw on Periphery or Protest the Hero and just listen to that all the time. But I don't know if you know Cameron Richardson, but he's a buddy of mine. He's a guitarist in Planetary Ghost and their primary writer, and I've been listening to their EP pretty much nonstop on repeat. And the dude is a complete psychopath on guitar. He is what I aspire to be able to do. And there's this really obnoxious sweep thing that I wrote on Zero to Midnight, the song we just dropped. Check it out. And it was well above my ability to play at the time, and it still is. But I took a tip from him, like, you know, about holding my pick and like, you know, applying a certain amount of pressure, and now I can play it. Like passively. No one at the show complained at all.
Hell yeah.
And
yeah, Cameron also wrote and performed the violin parts in Scavenger.
Yes.
He's a classically trained violin player.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah. And but yeah, Planetary Ghost's new EP is absolute fire.
Good.
I've been listening to a lot of Bad Flower, which is like rock, like kind of got some grunge feel to it, but I just really love, like, they're not super complicated songs, but I love something with like a lot of emotion, and you know, a lot of their songs you can just, you know, feel like the way the guy sings, the way the playing is, or everything's recorded, and the instruments and everything. It just brings out a lot of inner feelings that I didn't know I wanted to feel until I listened to the song, you know. And I've been listening to a lot of that. That and Lost Planet is another one where they're crazy heavy, but a lot of emotion goes on behind the scenes, and it brings it on home for me.
Well, there you go. I was gonna say, I guess trying to think of you guys are nerds like me, I hope.
Oh yeah.
So oh yeah, okay, cool. Then we can go. All right, we can go full on. So last question is just going to be, because I like to get to know everybody. I like to, you know, relate to everybody, and just give one outside of music question. Favorite video game you've played over the last year?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've always wanted to be a knight in medieval armor, and that gives me the first person like fighting and everything that I always wanted.
I thought it was gonna be Diablo.
You know, I like Diablo a lot, but this is like, you know, it's like almost too nerdy. Like you have to like put on each like layer of armor to wear, like, if you want to wear like plate, you have to wear like a padded jacket and then like chainmail, and then you can put your plate on, and it's like, dude, yeah, but it's like, it's so like in depth and it's crazy, but you can like run through a village if you wanted to on a horse and freaking like take a mace and just swing it at, you know, other innocent bystander. Yeah, you know.
So is it like a Genghis Khan simulator? Like,
no,
what is this?
it's like you know, you're a knight, you get taken, you know, stuff happens, you fall off a cliff, you have no armor, basically, and then you have to build yourself back up. Okay. And it's kind of cool, like, working your way from, like, having nothing, being in a house in the woods, to, like, fight, you know, getting more armor, reaching, you know, new levels of everything. It's really cool.
Rated M for mace swinging.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry I pulled up my phone. I was trying to pull up my PlayStation app and I don't have service. I'm like, what if I played them last year? One that made a big impact on me was Animal Well. It's this little like 2D side scroller, and I don't know if you've ever played Hollow Knight. It's like kind of reminiscent of like the exploration in that game and like the platforming. It's I don't Donkey's related to it somehow. If you know who Video Game Donkey is, it's his company. Okay, yeah. So he produced it, and the kind of puzzles you have to solve in that game broke my brain. I was playing it in tandem with a friend. He's like, "We gotta play this together," and I was like, "Sure, it looks fun." And like an hour in, I'm like, God, how do I even play this? And you can see that there's something impossible to get on the other side of the wall, and then like getting to the other side of the wall takes going through the whole game, and then you're like, oh my God, 15 hours later I'm on the other side of the wall. It's really cool. It's not like a ton of plot per se, but it's just like gorgeous to look at and fun to play.
Okay.
I think it made a big impact on me.
Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm a Dark Souls boy from day one, from sophomore, even back in like the Armored Core days, which I also been playing the new one. But yeah, Elden Ring and the expansion to me is just the epitome of get good, bitch.
How about y'all?
I'll let Tia go first because I gotta.
So I have been feeling nostalgic, and I've been playing Pokemon Silver on an emulator.
Right on.
Nice.
Right on.
I just, not to brag, but I just got 16 badges.
Oh.
So I'm just kind of grinding right now,
Hell
just
yeah.
leveling up, trying to fill out my Pokedex.
Very nice.
That's where I'm at.
For me, it's just been I've been going between a couple different things. Thank you, PlayStation Plus. They just had the Sonic Colors Ultimate. So I started that, but I haven't fully dived into it. I would say like the last game that I really beat was probably the Silent Hill 2 remake. Yeah, like the last new game. But other than that, went through Onimusha, the HD remaster, and had to do my obligatory yearly Resident Evil 2 run. So yeah, those were it.
To imagine you set like a yearly timer
Oh yeah.
on your phone.
Oh yeah, no, it happens like
God damn
beginning
it.
of every
It's March.
like,
It's time.
No, like seriously, if you watch my play record from ever since the Resident Evil 2 remake was released, the beginning of every year, it's unconsciously. It's just like, oh yeah, time to play it.
Hell yeah.
I've also been on a big JRPG kick. Started off with the Final Fantasy 7 remake. And then that shit's so awesome.
I was gonna say, I thought James was gonna say Rebirth because I know we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm playing Rebirth right now. I did like remake and then Tales of Arise and then Dragon Quest 11 and then took a break with the new Dragon Age. It was okay, and then now I'm doing Rebirth.
Yeah, I love that game. It's so expansive and beautiful and brings to life so much stuff. But yeah, dude, the mini games,
Yes.
they're all individually very good, but there's just so many.
What about the card game? Because I got addicted to that.
Dude.
I was going to different continents and just whooping.
Yeah, I just finished the card game side. I love the card game, but like every mini game,
Yeah.
and some of them are really hard.
Fort Condor in hard
Oh,
mode?
yeah.
Dude.
No thanks.
Fort Condor.
Yeah, I fuck with or Condor. It was the other one, like I forget the name of it, where it has like the mini army coming at you. That's not Fort Condor, but
The slime one with
yeah,
the big slime in
yeah.
the center. That one's hard too.
I
That was
fucking
one
hate
of the
that.
Proto-Relic.
so
Relic.
I guess we got that out of the way. I guess we are going to close it out. Thanks to our friends, Challenger Deep. Like, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, not a problem.
That's
This
awesome.
is, yeah. I think this is like the first podcast where we've kept it 95% music.
We're getting better.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
trying.
Staying on topic.
Yeah, staying on topic. It was like, yeah, we got to stay on topic. But yeah, well, I'm gonna let you guys plug yourselves, and then we'll plug ourselves. Oh God, that sounds bad. You guys do the socials, then we'll do our thing.
Plugging.
Yes, mutual plugging.
I'm Jason.
I'm James.
I'm Jake.
We're Challenger Deep. Check us out, challengerdeepdude.com. Instagram, Facebook. We have a show potentially coming up in May, and then we will definitely be doing an album release show at the beginning of August in Atlanta, but we will be immediately starting a East Coast, Midwest tour. Might be hitting Florida, some other spots, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. We'll probably be announcing in the next couple months, I think.
Yeah, and if you like vinyl, please pre-order it because
Pre-order
we
it,
love you,
please.
and it'll save us so much debt.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome.
Give us your money now,
The music's good, we swear.
on God.
I'll co-sign from them.
No cap.
All right, so with us, like, subscribe, comment, go and listen to the new Challenger Deep album or singles, and let us know which one is your favorite.
Yeah.
Run that one more time. Just
Yeah, because So down below in the comments. No. Blip.
Hello.
So, dear listener, viewer, you have homework. Go and listen to the new Challenger Deep album or singles, and let us know down below in the comments which one is your favorite song, or just do an emoji for your favorite guitar part or bass part.
Yeah.
Or you can describe your favorite song with emojis.
Yeah.
If you're feeling creative.
Yeah. So thank you again. Thanks again to our buds in Challenger Deep, and thank you, dear viewer, listener. We should do an audio version of this, audio only on, but maybe we will with this episode. Who knows? I don't know. But
We'll
anyway,
try some things out.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't know that. Anyways, I think both Tia and I are very hungry.
Yeah.
So
I'm so
we are
sorry.
we are closing this out. So later.
Later.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Everybody's supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're supersonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're just supersonic racing, running to the point of no return. Everybody's supersonic racing.
all right, fucking working. Oh wait, whoa.